You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England's source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and I'm kind of excited for our show today because we have a great guests that are coming on the show. It's Bill and Joyce Cummings. They are the owners of Cummings Properties.
Right.
It's a commercial real estate property company, obviously. It's a full-service real estate development, property management, and construction firm with 82 large or very large buildings in 10 greater Boston communities. It operates and leases 10 million square feet of commercial space to more than 2,000 clients of all types and sizes, leases large and small executive offices, medical offices, as well as laboratory and research space. They lease light manufacturing or distribution space. They have assisted living opportunities for seniors, and they are also into the energy efficient green buildings, pre-certified at the LEED gold
level, right?
Which is up and coming.
Right. I'm excited for this interview as well. They're very impressive through our research. I mean, we found out that what you just said is what they do from 9 to 5. But they have so many other things that they're involved in, and, we'll touch upon all those. I can't wait.
Right. They have their own foundation, which actually owns Cummings Properties.
Right.
And they're also part of the
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the pledge. Right.
Which is, I think they're the only ones from New England involved in that.
Really?
But we'll find out.
Of course.
If that's still the case. And we will have them on the show in our
they'll
next
be joining
segment.
us soon, yeah.
But right now, let's talk about what you did last week.
Nice. Let's start a little day in the life of Eric.
Yeah.
Well, I went to...
Besides nothing.
Right. Well, last week we had a panel for the Rental Housing Association. Put on by Service Master by Gilmore. It was, hosted by Brian Calabro out of Quincy, and we talked about social media and how to integrate it with property management and property managers, property management companies. How they're using Facebook, how they're using Twitter, how they're using Pinterest, LinkedIn, Vine, Instagram, and any of these other social networks in order to, tie it into the community, but also tie it into the business goals as well, and renting properties out and. It was really fun. A lot of good information. It was about a 2-hour little panel, and I was really excited for the opportunity to do it, and it went well. So appreciated it.
Pretty much geared to social media,
right.
Integrating social media there.
Well, I mean, that's really what everyone's trying to do now is measure it. I mean, last year in 2013, I think you saw most of the commercial real estate industry kind of getting involved and signing themselves up and, putting themselves through what I like to call a test period, to see whether or not it would or would not work for their specific goals. And I think this year, after the CEOs or whatever, COOs said, hey, get us in social media, they now going to go, oh, now I need to know what did it do for us. They now have to figure out how to measure it. And so we've seen a lot more of that for us anyway. I'll be in a lot more panels for analytics.
Sounds interesting.
But we had 2 storms last week. Oh, we had Martin Luther King last week, right? Was
that Monday?
Yes. On Wednesday?
Monday.
So, it was only a couple days a week. I mean, I ended up working on a Saturday.
Right. And Wednesday was the big storm. Actually, it was only the big storm on the South Shore.
Right.
Everywhere else, it wasn't a big storm.
Exactly. Well, we're in the South Shore, so
yeah.
We had the 17 inches in Norwell there.
Right, and everyone north of Boston had like 2 inches of snow.
Right. Which is a little role reversal.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's the climate's changing.
Well, but we do have our networking event that we'll be attending tomorrow night, which would air. This airs Saturday, so it would have been this week. So next week we'll have to talk about that on the radio. And
we will, and we're also going to be having we're going to be doing a show at our event.
Right. Also, a shout out to all the People's Choice Award winners for the Boston Society of Architects. That's also on the same night as our event. Congratulations to all the winners for that.
Yeah, so hopefully some of those people that after they get their award, they run right over to our event.
I think it's a gala. I don't know. Are the awards presented there? They may be. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure how they're going to do that. But We're going to go to our break.
All right.
You know,
And come
I
back
want
with
you to
Bill and
stay tuned.
Joyce.
I want you to stay tuned. You got to listen to our interview with Bill and Joyce Cummings, Cummings Properties of the Cummings Foundation. And our show is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com. That's 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson. And our interview today with Bill Cummings is brought to you by Consigli Construction, your partner for success. Consigli Construction is a leading construction manager and general contractor headquartered in Milford, Mass. Consigli, a fourth-generation family-owned company, services clients throughout New England and New York. Consigli's projects are distinctive for their exceptional craftsmanship. Consigli provides innovative solutions to challenging projects. For more information about Consigli Construction, call 508-473-2580, or to view their portfolio, visit consigli.com. That is CONSIGLI.com. And we have in the studio with us Bill Cummings of Cummings Properties, Inc. It's Inc., right?
Well, it's pretty close. It's Cummings Properties, LLC, actually.
LLC. It's I always screw up on something, so that would be my first one. Okay, so Bill, tell us a little bit about the history of. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of history about Cummings Properties LLC, and when it started, and what you envisioned when it started.
Although what we envisioned when we started is a good thing, because there never really was a starting point when we envisioned anything. Cummings Properties came into effect officially in 1970. But before that time, we had accumulated several buildings in Woburn near the intersection of Montvale Avenue and I-93, and had, before we knew it, we had a business going on. They were effectively a sideline to another food products manufacturing business, a small one that I owned at the time, and realized at a certain point that it was time to decide if I wanted to be in the food products business or if I wanted to be in commercial real estate.
Now, I did read a little bit about you started with a fruit punch.
Fruit punch it was.
Yeah, and that I don't know how that leads into commercial real estate, but that's pretty interesting, because that's also how you met your wife.
Well, you did do some reading, didn't you?
Yeah, we've done our research.
Yeah, I had purchased a business probably 6 years before that was, the name of the company was Old Medford Foods. And Old Medford Foods at one point was the Old Medford Rum Company. And it had been around for 180 years. And It was a company that was down to one part-time employee.
Wow.
And I bought the firm for $10,000. So it wasn't too much going, but they had two accounts. One of the accounts where they sold fruit punch was Harvard University. The other one was MIT. And in addition to selling a lot of restaurants and so forth, but I chose to follow the education path, started trying to sell the product in other schools and universities and hospitals, and was very successful, effectively saying to schools and colleges that I'm sure you don't want to buy it because Harvard and MIT buy it, but you might want to try it. This is a really good product. We'll put a dispenser into your dining room for all the dining rooms that you have, and we'll sell you lots of fruit punch.
Wow.
I happened to do that at the Mass Eye and Ear Infirmary, and my wife was the hospital dietitian there at that time before we knew each other. And she bought the product, and I bought her. That's not quite the right word to use there, but we certainly made that connection, and it's been a great life ever since.
Now, does Joyce work in the company with you?
Joyce works in our foundation, and we do that together. But she's never had an active role in the company per se, though.
So then, after you still own that food company, and then you started buying up some buildings, or developing them.
We developed them, and I use the pontifical we. It was me and myself at that point, really. But in addition to having the food products company, there was extra land on the site where we moved that business. We built a rental building adjacent to it just to make use of the land. Small building, 15,000 square feet. Leased that out at the time. The first tenant was paying 70 cents a square foot per year for the space. We built.
That's a really good deal.
Well, we built the building at that time at about $23 or $24 a foot to construct it, and we still have it. And it's our first new building. We have the one that we built next door to that, and the one that we built next door to that. Excuse me. In an area very much like what you occupy here.
So it all developed off of that food business because you needed the building for your own company.
We needed the building for Old Medford Foods and bought the adjacent land, developed that land, and then at some point decided that
this is the direction you want to go.
We want to go that way.
And if most people probably will recognize the name, because if you drive down, I'm not sure if you use 128 or 95 because they changed the name, the route number.
It's right there, 95.
Yeah, but you'll see Cummings Properties right on the side of the road. Big sign on the buildings.
Yeah, we tend to be very much adjacent to I-93 or I-95, 128 in almost all of our properties.
Is that because that's where you bought the rum place, or are you from that area originally?
I was born and brought up in Medford, Eric.
Oh, okay.
And went to Medford High School, graduated from Tufts, and stayed very much at home.
Mm-hmm.
Had a couple of jobs in corporate America. 3 years with Vic Chemical Company, which used to be Vic's Vapor Rub.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Then 3 years in Gorton's. And between those two, they were the equivalent of a well-paid MBA program. I learned so much working in that environment.
So you were actually on the road salesperson.
I was very much on the road. I worked in 40 states while I was with Vic's, and then I worked in.
Oh, wow.
I worked in the other 8 when I
almost a
switched to
national
Gorton's.
Salesperson for them.
I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was very single, and it's a great job to have.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So you traveled around the whole U.S. probably.
Just about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's after that. That's what the industrial parks had developed into by adding to the properties.
We continued for after selling Old Medford Foods in 1972, I think. And I was full time in commercial real estate from that point on, and we just quietly kept building, kept our heads down, and weren't too much involved with anybody else. And it was always, we started accumulating more buildings and a lot more square feet, a lot of people.
Right.
We've got 30, altogether there's about 370 employees today. At that time, we probably had a dozen. But we've also got 30 employees. We've got a dozen employees who've been there for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's probably not something that you thought it was going to grow to, I'm sure.
Never.
And now, looking back, I'm sure you're probably amazed by what happened.
I get amazed at little things that we buy a small truckload of turkeys every year at Christmas or at Thanksgiving for employees, and I say, where on earth are we going to do with all these turkeys? Could there possibly be that many people who are going to take home a turkey tonight? And it catches up and surprises you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's when you start out a business, and I've started a couple of businesses myself, and when you start out in a business, you you plan to try to grow it to something very successful, but when it does, you're just amazed, that it got to that point.
Right.
So I can see looking back and saying, I did all that.
Do you ever have regrets about selling the Milford's food place?
Oh, no. No.
No, sorry, that was just my...
No, that was a great learning experience
Right.
in itself. It was a business that it cost $10,000 to buy it. We sold it for better than $1 million.
Oh, wow.
That provided the funds to buy a lot of concrete blocks.
Right.
Start putting up buildings with it.
Fantastic.
Well, we're going to go to a break right now, and we're going to come back. And when we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit about your foundation, which is something that I'm impressed by. That you help out quite a few different charities and organizations with it. So I want to talk a little bit about that when we come back from a break. But we need to give our sponsors their
Just do.
Consigli Construction, your partner for success. Consigli Construction is a leading construction manager and general contractor headquartered in Milford, Mass. Consigli, a fourth-generation family-owned company, services clients throughout New England and New York. Consigli's projects are distinctive for their exceptional craftsmanship. Consigli provides innovative solutions to challenging projects. For more information about Consigli Construction, call 508-473-2580, or to view their portfolio, visit consigli.com. That is consigli.com, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money Matters Radio Network. New England's commercial real estate scene is covered right here on the Money Matters Radio Network with Rick Kaplan.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and a continuation of our interview with Bill Cummings. Our sponsor for the interview is AHP Architects, is a commercial architectural design firm located in the Metro Boston area. The team of highly talented architects and designers guide projects ranging from small tenant improvements to the largest highly technical bioscience facilities. Creative and sustainable projects have recently been completed throughout New England, Indiana, Florida, and as well as Mexico. Bridging energy-sensitive and innovative concepts, AHP Architects partners with clients to create designs that inspire and improve lives. Visit them at ahparchitects.com. That's ahparchitects.com. And we're going to continue our conversation with Bill Cummings from Cummings Properties, LLC. We're going to talk a little bit about his foundation, which is a pretty impressive foundation. And during the break, we were also talking about how someone gets to a certain point in their life where they have enough and they want to do something like start a foundation. So why don't we talk a little bit about that, Bill? How the foundation started from going from commercial property into a foundation.
Rick, we determined back in 1986 that the way that my wife Joyce and I determined that the way our life was going, that we had enough net worth to live in whatever lifestyle we wanted, and through our declining years, and that it was time to start doing something else and start gradually building something that would be a meaningful philanthropic venture. We started Cummings Foundation at that time in 1986.
Now, we were talking before we came back from the break. A lot of people don't think the way you think, which is an impressive way of thinking. Because nowadays, everyone looks out for themselves. I don't really care what's going on over there as long as, I keep raking in the dough. That's all I care about. But, at what point did you say, what? We have all that, we don't have to worry about anything. Let's help others. Was it something that inspired you to do that?
It's not a hard decision to come to. At least it wasn't for us and people that we've come to know, who feel that they've accumulated all that they need and all that their offspring might need. and recognizing that there's something very real about not wanting to give children too much. It doesn't help people, but it takes away their own motivation probably. And the thinking really was that it was time to do something that would last beyond our days and have the fun of implementing them while we're up and able.
But it also sounds like that money has never really changed you. You're the same person that you were when you started Cummings Properties.
Probably so.
Which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Some people could look at it and think it was more than a little odd that neither my wife nor I has ever bought a first-class airplane ticket. We could. It wouldn't make a difference anywhere, but it just seems like such a silly thing to do.
Right.
To pay 5 times as much to fly first class, and so we've never done that. And even back and forth to Africa, we're flying coach in the back of the plane, and if we're supporting an organization that is doing things like that, traveling around, we expect they're going to use it the same way.
Right.
Not conspicuous consumption, though.
Right.
In 1986, when you started your foundation, did you start with a building? Did you, I know that you've donated some of your buildings to the foundation over the years. Did you start in 1986 with a building to initially start the foundation and get it going?
We did not, Eric. The buildings came later. It was cash early on.
Okay.
And stock, I guess, and then gradually we determined that the best thing to do is actually to donate buildings. We still personally own some, but the company altogether has got buildings in 10 communities, I think, now, and it's 10 million square feet altogether, and maybe 80 buildings.
Wow.
Probably 65% of those buildings and the net income are owned by the foundation today.
Okay. Wow.
So the property, a lot of the properties are owned by the foundation, and is the property managing company part of that? The foundation, where they manage the property?
The company, the Cummings Properties LLC, operates the buildings that are not owned by the foundation, and Cummings Realty LLC is a management company that's owned by the foundation. So it's not making profit.
Right.
Oh, I see.
It's managing the foundation's own buildings.
And the money that comes from these buildings continually goes right to the foundation. That's what you use for your 100 for 100 and for all your charities. That's the money that's accumulated?
For most of them, Eric. There's some things that we do. We do a program that's it's accumulating right now through Cummings Properties. There are 370-odd people at Cummings Properties. Every one of them has an opportunity to name a charity, and the company gives $1,000 to the charity of each of its employees.
Wow.
And what we look for there is it's got to be a legitimate charity. It can be to benefit a local Cub Scout den maybe, but it still has to go to the legal organization.
Right.
It can be to a PTA group, or it has to go to the municipality then for the benefit of that. But the employees like it. It's a great way to teach philanthropy.
Right.
And very often, a lot of employees tell us that they actually get together and have a discussion over the supper table as to what we're going to support this year, and then we'll go down and make a donation. We'll bring the kids down,
right?
And they see the value of the local daycare gets $1,000. Well, in that kind of an organization, it's more than most people are going to give them,
right?
And it makes a difference in that organization,
and it's a lesson.
And it's that makes the employees really feel a part, and they know that what the work that they're doing is really benefiting something, and they see it. And that happens in the same thing with these grants of the 100 grants of $100,000 each. Some of these are recommended by employee groups. They're recommended by by the trustees of the foundation. Each of them, they name some of them, and all again, and they're invited. Any organizations are invited each year to submit an application. It's all on the on the foundation website, which is cummingsfoundation.org, as you probably have there. But it's pretty well spelled out, and it's a nice program that reaches a lot of smaller organizations. And these aren't all checks for they don't get a check for $100,000. Now, if you're benefiting a neighborhood daycare,
Right.
they couldn't use that.
Right.
But instead, it might be 10 years at $10,000 a year.
Right.
And so most of them are 3 years at $33,000 a year, or 2 years or 1 year.
Right.
But they can spread out a long time.
Oh, wow.
And it's a lot of fun to see how it all comes together.
Yeah, it sounds
Right.
like it.
I mean,
that's
it's probably very gratifying to see that money is really going to help something or someone, some group. I mean, when you see the things that it creates, that must be a rewarding feeling.
It's extremely rewarding, Rick, and maybe it's the selfish element of it, why we don't give to major national organizations. They mostly do very well. I mean,
right.
the Cancer Fund or the Muscular Dystrophy Association or whatever it might be. We try to pick organizations that are local that don't see too much, and then we get to know them personally in many cases.
How did you break down the math, like the 100 for 100 or the 1,000 for employees? Was that just you guys brainstorming, ballpark figure, and saying we want to do 100 different organizations instead of just one organization or 10 organizations?
Yes. I mean, it's just trying to come up with something that sounds right,
right,
and that works.
Yeah, it
So
does.
you're basically not looking. Well, we could help one organization, or we can help hundreds of organizations.
Well, you're
it
saying
makes more sense.
a bigger impact,
Right.
on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
We made a commitment to the Museum of Science just the other day
Love it.
to support their program, because it works so well in educating kids from all levels all over the city. And so we'll do more of that as time goes on as well. But again, in Boston and the organizations that need it and put it to really good use. And
Now, is it mainly the foundation geared towards helping like students, or for the younger education years?
Well, it's that, certainly, both of those, and the overriding word, I guess, would be underserved, people who needy. We've done a lot in Dorchester. We go to Lynn and Lowell and Lawrence, to organizations there that particularly those that our staff know about, and that's where they tend to be. We've got 2 assisted living communities that we actually built, and so we do a lot with the seniors there. So that's the other end of the spectrum.
Right.
We've got New Horizons in Woburn, which has 103 or 4 residents, and New Horizons in Marlborough, which has 370 or 80
Wow.
residents of all types.
Well, being in my upper 50s, I've heard.
They're not eligible yet.
I've heard about New Horizons.
He's already looking at
but
reserve spots for 10 years.
I guess they're preparing me, because I'm getting some of those messages.
The whole thing with New Horizons, the thing that's best about that is that anyone who goes there has a guarantee that the charge for their apartment and their meals will never go up. So whatever it is,
wow.
if they need medical care, that'll be Winchester Hospital provides it at Woburn, and Care Solutions is a well-rated home service organization that provides it in Marlborough. So those charges will be what they are, but they're guaranteed that it'll be at least 10 years.
Wow.
And that's run through the foundation, the New Horizons.
Yes, yeah. And Choate has never, at New Horizons at Choate and Woburn, has never had an increase for people once they move in.
Mm-hmm. So you're almost like grandfathered in. Once you get it, that's your price for the remainder of your time and stay at that place.
Yeah, just so people can come and not have that worry that
right.
things are going to go up. And you talk about rewarding experiences, just seeing the residents as they first come in and nobody wants to come. They don't want to give up their homes. And you get to be just a little bit older than I am. You might develop reasons to do so, particularly if somebody's living alone.
Right.
And to go to a place like New Horizons, and I will say, by the way, that of all the assisted living communities now in Massachusetts, I don't know of any that aren't good. I mean, there's a lot of very, very good facilities, and they all have one thing in common: the residents make friends, and they come. They initially come in, and they're withdrawn, and they're not used to seeing people,
right?
And people make up to them, and they suddenly find somebody they went to elementary school with, maybe, or
right. They meet people that someone might have known, someone that they know. They become friends.
Marlboro, we've got 78 or 80 veterans.
Is that right?
That are there, and so you see, the guys out there getting together.
Right, they have something in common.
Yeah, for some reason we have far more men than a lot of other communities do, and we push that and encourage it because it makes for a nice environment. And so they get to make friends, and people just come out of their shells if you're not with other people. That companionship part is so important, and we're able to bring that back, and we love that.
Right, I'm sure it's probably great to keep them a little younger too. To be around people, having things to do as opposed to sitting.
Laughter.
Right.
Yeah. It's the activities.
Right.
It's the fun things. And when you're 85 and you don't move very well, chair exercises. You see them on TV every once in a while. The senior citizens doing chair exercises.
Right.
But any kind of exercise is terrific, and to make a game out of it one way or the other.
And it's something you wouldn't do if you weren't in a place like a New Horizon.
Yep.
Well, right. You'd be recluse.
Yeah.
We get coached when we're in elementary school and junior high school and college. People coach us on what to do, and the staff at places in these assisted living communities are like coaches to a large extent, trying to just give people what's important to them.
Right. They probably push them a little more than if they were trying to do it on their own. I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't move without motivation.
Right. I think that's great.
That is great.
Yeah. So it's the younger and the older, I guess, that the foundation helps.
Yes. Yeah.
So now we covered all of that. Now I want to find out, how did we end up in Rwanda?
That's a good question. Yeah. Rwanda came through the program at Tufts University, which is a Holocaust and Genocide education program. It's called the Cummings Hillel program, and we supported students going to Rwanda for several years. We heard so many good stories, how transformative it was for the students for the week or two that they would spend there, and they came back and what they saw, and how the Rwandan children in this where they were going to visit at Agahozo Shalom Youth Village, the 500 students there had been through so much, and that they had the attitude and the spirit that they did, and it was so moving to the students who go there. They have students from 3 schools now: Harvard, Tufts University of Pennsylvania, and Yale, I believe. And one of those other schools is not going, so now it'll be Salem State University is going to have a program there, and which we are also sponsoring. But seeing those students and talking to them after they came back, that moved us to want to go and see what they were doing, and then we got involved in other things while we were there.
And what year was this?
Our first trip was 3 years ago,
Okay.
the first trip to Africa.
Wow.
Well,
Was it everything you thought? You're going to come back?
Well, yeah. Well, I want to go to a break. When we come back, we probably can talk about this. There's so much that the foundation helps, and does that we could probably talk about that for a week. But we got to go to a break. When we come back,
your audience would get pretty bored.
They're always bored, anyways. We're talking about commercial real estate, Bill. But when we come back, I want to talk about the Giving Pledge. We have a few minutes to talk about that before we come to the close of the show. Mm-hmm. But our interview is brought to you by AHP Architects. Is a commercial architectural design firm located in the Metro Boston area. Their team of highly talented architects and designers guide projects ranging from small tenant improvements to the largest. Highly technical bioscience facilities. Creative and sustainable projects have recently been completed throughout the New England, Indiana, and Florida, as well as Mexico. Bridging energy-sensitive and innovative concepts, AHP Architects partners with clients to create designs that inspire and improve lives. Visit them at ahparchitects.com. That's ahparchitects.com, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
It's New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and we're talking with Bill Cummings from the Cummings Properties. And our next segment is brought to you by Goodman, Shapiro, and Labate, attorneys who have been exclusively engaged in the practice of condominium law for over 30 years. The firm represents over 800 community associations. They have offices in Dedham, Mass. and Lincoln, Rhode Island, dedicated to a serving growing southern New England condo market. Attorney Frank Lombardi heads the Rhode Island office. If you need guidance about anything condo, Goodman, Shapiro, and Lombardi are the right attorneys to call before the wrong things happen. Reach Frank Lombardi toll-free at 877-241-1600 or on the web at goshlaw.com. That's GOSHLAW.com. Again, that's 877-241-1600 or on the web at goshlaw.com. That's GOSHLAW.com. And we're talking with Bill Cummings from Cummings Properties. And we're coming to the end of the show, but one of the things I wanted to ask you about, Bill, was the Giving Pledge. Now, you're in good company with that organization. It's Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and I'm sure a lot of others, and also Bill Cummings.
Well, that's another one of those situations where it's Bill and Joyce Cummings and the little fish, very, very little fish in a large pond there. We're delighted to be a part of the organization, and you mentioned the founders, Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett, who've put between the hundreds of billions of dollars not into the organization, but into their charities. Mm-hmm. And what they're seeking to do is to be an inspiration for other people. We joined it really just supporting that theory that if we're going to do things in philanthropy, there's lots of people who could do more than they're doing and just haven't gotten around to it, or they don't think of it as something that they can do it while they're living. They think it's something that they do in their wills,
mm-hmm.
and that's fine too. But the just to make the commitment that their funds are going to be used for something philanthropic is good, and we get lots of very good ideas through the Giving Pledge.
Now, how many members of this, the Giving Pledge? Do you have an idea?
I think right now there are about 122. We joined 3 years ago, the first year, and then we were, I think, something like 60.
Now, did you reach out to join, or did they reach out to you?
Someone from the organization contacted someone in our group and inquired whether we have interest in looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no pressure or anything.
Bill Gates didn't fly out, sit down with you, and like a college recruiter.
Not quite like that. I've met with Bill in Woburn though.
Oh well.
And for purposes of meeting with other people who might have interest from Massachusetts.
Right.
And we talked to a number of people there
mm-hmm.
at a dinner meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very easy to talk to person, and almost as easy as Warren Buffett.
Oh wow!
Warren Buffett could be anybody's grandfather. And
But they also sound like they have similar thinking as you do, where it sounds like Warren Buffett sounds like he has the same friends that he grew up with.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
And
Bill Gates as well.
Yeah, they live on a little different lifestyle between the two of them, and they're very best friends, and so impressive. I mean, as far as role models, that they're real. We believe that
Right.
very much. They're real people, and are happy to support the whole concept, even though it's for us we're at the far end of the spectrum of the people who are in the organization.
But from the Northeast, are there any other members?
There's one other family in Massachusetts now. You might know the Klarmans, Seth and Beth Klarman, are major financial family in Boston, and they joined this year. And I think there's someone. I'm not aware of anyone else in northern New England though. Mm-hmm. And it's mostly it's a lot of West Coast people,
right?
A lot of New York City,
right?
And just such an impressive group of people. It's very it's eye-opening to us that it's another world for us. 'Cause we're not a part of that world,
Right?
It's our friends are the same friends we had 40 years ago, and
Right.
we're not looking to change anything. But we have had an opportunity to enjoy access to different people and places and situations through the Giving Pledge, which has made it a very pleasant experience, certainly. Well,
I have to say you should consider yourself a role model as well, because of the things you are doing. They impressed me quite a bit, and I look at you as a role model. And I think that our listeners will feel the same way, because you don't meet that many people that have had the kind of success that you have had and have wanted to give back. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, is important in this day and age, because there is a need for that. There are a lot of people that just don't have that, and you're making opportunities available to them. And I thank you for that.
Mm. I agree. I think everyone, especially locally, you must consider yourself, and we consider you that.
Well, it's a nice to be able to have that opportunity to do things. I've had obviously a successful career, and primarily in real estate, and have enjoyed every bit of it, and still love to go into. I still go into work.
They still have an office there for you?
I have an office, and I'm in it most days before 8 o'clock, and I'm usually there until a little after 6 when the traffic dies down.
Oh, wow.
At Cummings Park. And you could probably use some larger offices up on the North Shore, couldn't you? maybe have a branch up there.
Yeah,
well, obviously we can use a bigger studio.
That's for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. You've really shared a lot with us today. We really appreciate it too.
Good.
And I'm glad, a lot of our listeners, I'm glad they will have a chance to listen to your message as well, because a lot of our listeners are from the same industry as you, and some of them have established quite a bit of wealth over the years, and maybe they'll follow in the same footsteps as Bill Cummings and Joyce. So I wish Joyce had was available to come in as well, and I tip my hat to both of you.
No, thank you very much, Rick, and it's nice to be with you and with you both, and you, Eric, as well, certainly,
nice.
and to be a part of this. And
we really appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, our interview with Bill Cummings was brought to you by Goodman, Shapiro, and Labate, attorneys who have been exclusively engaged in the practice of condominium law for over 30 years. The firm represents over 800 community associations. They have offices in Dedham, Mass, and Lincoln, Rhode Island, dedicated to a serving, growing southern New England condo market. Attorney Frank Lombardi heads the Rhode Island office. If you need guidance about anything condo, Goodman, Shapiro, and Lombardi are the right attorneys to call before the wrong things happen. Reach Frank Lombardi toll-free at 877-241-1600 or on the web at goshlaw.com. That's GOSHLAW.com. Again, that's 877-241-1600 or on the web at goshelaw.com. That's GOSHLAW.com, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network. And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and we're coming to a close of another one of our shows.
What a great show.
And it was a great show. Very impressive gentleman, Bill Cummings, from the Cummings Properties, and also Cummings Foundation.
Right.
But he's, like Eric was just saying, he does more in a week than what we probably do in
well, it's just
3
a very,
years.
very impressive life. I mean, from start to finish, he went out and bought the rum, the Kool-Aid, whatever, the rum,
starting
fruit
from
punch,
the fruit punch business.
the milk,
Yeah.
And then turns it into a commercial real estate place, then turns that into a foundation, then he has all these philanthropic, I mean, geez.
But, putting all that aside, he's a very nice guy.
Yeah, down to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously the interview was professional, but you get away from us and you get off the mic and talking just regular. What do you think about the Patriots? What do you get for the Super Bowl? It's just a regular guy you'd see at a barbecue,
right?
And that was just what a pleasure
that's
to
why,
meet him.
He talks about how he's friendly with his longtime friends.
Yeah, he was saying he became friends with most of his kids' friends' parents
right,
from
like
going
most
to
people do.
PTA meetings and things like that. Yeah, it was a really what a pleasure it was to meet him, and
It was.
we thank him and Joyce. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it, but for them coming out and taking the time to spend with you and me, two hacks for the New England Real Estate Journal radio show.
But you know what? We want to tell everyone that our show is also available on iTunes.
Yep, you can hear us now on iTunes. If you
it's
can't get enough of us on UR Business
UR
Network,
Business Network,
or here on Money Matters,
Money Matters Network,
or on our websites,
NEREJ.com/radio.
Yep.
And
NYRJ is still doing the NER show. Yep.
Yeah. So there's always some place for you to listen to our show.
You can
And
hear us
I
all of them.
And I do hope a lot of people do listen to this show because you really
justifies your hour.
Well, it keeps me employed.
Yeah, right. So one day that you too can be part of the Giving Pledge. No, I think.
Well, also, yeah. You said you too, but our show is also on YouTube.
YouTube, yes, you can see us. You can see us now.
That video.
You guys can actually see what we look like.
Yeah,
and
so-
how much fun we actually have
So
in
now
studio.
now you don't have to just make fun of our voice. You can also make fun of the way we look.
Maybe we'll have. Take it easy. Speak for yourself, Rick. All right.
The way Eric looks.
Nice. I'm like the Mona Lisa of radio.
Yeah,
No,
sitting down on a rocking chair all day long, sleeping.
No, but I was going to say, luckily for our listeners, we've had some great guests come on in the last couple months, and Bill was just another exceptional guest who's done exceptional work here in Massachusetts. Lucky for us, and also we want to thank all of our sponsors for allowing us to do the show every week,
Right.
and have as
So,
much fun as we do.
Now, if you're looking to rent or lease an office, you would want to lease it from Cummings Properties.
Oh, look at you!
You
Look
know?
at you! Yeah. Now, what are you working for him?
No,
out
but
here
you know
doing,
what?
out here doing plugs.
Yeah, well, he's a great guy.
He was.
Or you get, if you want more information about his organization,
Yeah, you can
go
go
to CummingsFoundation.org.
You can go to CummingsFoundation.org. You can go to Cummings.com. You can go to CummingsProperty.com. And I'm sure there's others as well. I know that they also do the
Yeah,
veterinary school with
right.
Tufts.
They have a lot of different websites
Yeah.
that have a lot of information about their organization.
And you can learn more about Rwanda, too, what they're doing over
That's
there
true.
in the last 3 years, too, because I know we only touched briefly upon that. But he's doing great work over there, fast-tracking developments and things like that to really
Exactly.
help out what they're doing. Yeah, it was remarkable. But yeah, check us out on YouTube. We have 3 shows now.
Now, what about events?
Events coming up.
Not coming up.
Yeah, we got. I know you can check out. Obviously, BOMA's.
February 7th, the IREM ski trip at Loon Mountain.
Yep, for all those that like to ski, or like you and me, Rick, hang out at the bar drinking cocoa.
I like to ski.
Oh,
Eric.
my bad. I know that's what you.
And I like my cocoa with a little peppermint schnapps while I'm skiing. Just a little information.
Dangerous, but okay. I like how you like to live dangerously, Rick.
I do. I live dangerously.
Speaking of that,
We have our big networking event.
ours will have just passed.
We're
doing another one in March. That's what we're
March
promoting
20th.
now.
Yeah.
In Newton, right?
Yes, in Newton. So if you're interested in attending that one, please let us know and we can get you on our list. And I think we covered all of it.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, pretty much. Also, I mean, always check out any of your local associations. USGBCmass.org, BOMA.org, REFA, the GBREB, which is the Greater Boston Real Estate Board. You can check out their website for all the events they have coming up. All of these associations that you'll have the opportunity to meet at our networking events will also have calendars out so that you can see some of their networking events coming up. Mark your calendars, by the way, for March. We're going to be touring the Anheuser-Busch Brewery with Iram, and I'll be a part of that as well. I won't be the ski event. You will, but I won't.
Well,
so that's how you can keep up with Rick and Eric at the events.
Right. Well, I want to thank our sponsors, Consigli Construction, Goodman, Shapiro, and Lombardi Attorneys, AHP Architects.
I love how you're flicking through the papers still, like you don't remember who they are every week.
But I don't want to forget anyone.
Yeah.
And the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email radio@NEREJ.com. That's 800-654-4993 or email radio@NEREJ.com. And I think this deal is done.